A 26-year-old billionaire disguised herself to find an honest man. Jane sat alone in a large sitting room, staring at the tall glass windows that overlooked the city. Cars moved like ants below, their horns faint in the distance. The house was quiet, too quiet. It had always been quiet since the day her parents died. Jane was a multi-billionaire, but she had never asked for that life. At the age of 26, Jane lost both her parents in a ghastly motor accident. It happened on a rainy night. A truck lost control on the highway and crushed their car beyond recognition. By the time Jane arrived at the hospital, they were already gone. In one night, Jane lost her world. She was their only child. Her parents had built empires, real estate, oil investments, shipping companies, banks. They were powerful, respected, feared. And when they died, everything they owned was willed to Jane. At 26, Jane became one of the richest young women in the country. But with the money came pain. And with the pain came people. At first, Jane thought the attention was love. Men came from everywhere. Some were smooth talkers. Some were pastors' sons. Some were politicians. Some were businessmen. Some pretended to be humble and kind. They brought flowers. They sent gifts. They promised marriage. But soon, Jane began to notice patterns. They asked questions too quickly. How much do you earn in a month? Can you help me with a business idea? My mother is sick. Can you lend me money? If we marry, we can merge our wealth. Some tried to rush her into marriage. Some tried to trick her into signing documents. Some tried to blackmail her. Some only wanted her body, thinking money would silence her later. One man pretended to love her for 6 months. When she refused to invest in his fake company, he insulted her and leaked her private pictures online. Another man drugged her drink once, hoping to sleep with her and later extort her. Jane cried herself to sleep many nights. She stopped trusting smiles. She stopped believing sweet words. She stopped believing men. One night, Jane sat in her bedroom, staring at her reflection in the mirror. She was beautiful, naturally beautiful. Smooth skin, gentle eyes, long hair, graceful body. And that beauty mixed with wealth had become her curse. She whispered to herself, "If I remove the money, will anyone still love me?" That night, an idea was born. A dangerous idea. Jane decided to disappear. Not physically, but socially. She would hide her wealth. She would hide her beauty. She would hide her identity. She would become someone no one wanted. And then she would watch. Jane sold the idea to the public carefully. She changed her dressing. Old clothes, oversized gowns, cheap slippers. She stopped fixing her hair. She wore thick glasses. She used fake scars on her face. She learned to walk with her shoulders bent. She moved out of her mansion quietly and rented a small, dirty room in a poor neighborhood, far from her former life. Only her lawyer knew the truth. Jane told everyone she lost her wealth to bad investments. In weeks, the men vanished. Her phone stopped ringing. No flowers. No gifts. No good morning, my queen. People looked through her like she did not exist. And for the first time, Jane felt relief. Jane started going out as a poor woman. She sat in local restaurants. She walked on the streets. She took public transport. What she saw broke her heart. Men ignored her. Some mocked her. Some laughed at her appearance. Some tried to use her for cheap pleasure, thinking she had no value. One man told her openly, "You're not pretty enough to be loved, but you're good enough for one night." Jane went home and cried. Another man said, "If you want me, you must be grateful. No man will marry you like this." Jane learned fast. Beauty and money were doors. Without them, people saw you as nothing. Charles was different, or so it seemed at first. He had been watching Jane long, before her disguise. He knew who she was. He knew her wealth. He knew her story. Charles was not rich. He had many debts. He wanted a breakthrough. And Jane looked like his miracle. But he lacked the boldness to approach her when she was rich. When Jane disguised herself, Charles saw an opportunity. She is hiding, he told himself. And if I play this well, I can win. He approached Jane gently. He pretended not to know her. He acted kind. He bought her food when she said she was hungry. He bought her clothes when he noticed her torn dress. He spoke softly. He called her my queen, even in her disguise. People praised him. What good man, they said. Jane felt hope again. But something was wrong. Charles tried too hard. His care felt forced. His love felt rehearsed. Sometimes, Jane caught him staring at her strangely, like someone waiting for the right moment. He asked indirect questions about money. Have you ever been rich before? Do you believe people can hide wealth? If someone becomes rich suddenly, should they help others? Jane's heart began to shake. She did not accuse him. She investigated. Quietly, what Jane found broke her completely. Charles had always known who she was. He knew about her parents. He knew about her inheritance. He knew about her disguise. He had planned everything. Jane felt sick. All the food, all the clothes, all the care. It was all performance. That night, Jane called Charles. She did not shout. She did not cry. She simply paid him back. Every single thing he ever gave her. Food, clothes, money. Then she said one sentence. I was poor, ugly, and broken, and still you came for the money. She blocked him. That night, Jane packed her bags. She left the state. Jane traveled far away to another state where no one knew her. She was tired, emotionally tired. She told herself, maybe love is not for me. Hungry and exhausted one afternoon, Jane entered a small restaurant. She sat quietly, counting her remaining cash. She realized it was not enough. Her hands shook. That was when a stranger stood up. Leonard was handsome, but not flashy. Calm eyes, gentle voice, simple clothes. He looked at Jane and said, excuse me, please allow me to pay for your meal. Not out of interest, not out of attraction, out of pity. Jane did not know it yet, but her life was about to change forever. Jane froze when the stranger offered to pay for her meal. In her experience, nothing came free. She lifted her head slowly and looked at him. He was tall, neatly dressed and calm. Not the kind of man who stared too much. Not the kind who smiled with hidden meaning. I'm fine, Jane replied softly, embarrassed. The man smiled gently. I know, but please allow me. You look tired. Jane hesitated. Her stomach growled, betraying her pride. She nodded. Thank you, she whispered. He paid for her food and returned to his seat. He did not sit with her. He did not ask for her number. He did not wait for her reaction. Jane watched him quietly as she ate. This is strange, she thought. After she finished eating, she stood up to leave. As she passed his table, she stopped. Thank you for your kindness, she said. He smiled again. You're welcome. Have a good day. That was all. No questions. No expectations. Jane walked out of the restaurant confused. 2 days later, Jane saw him again. This time, it was at a roadside bookshop. Jane loved books. They were her escape. She was flipping through a used economics book when she heard a familiar voice. That's a good book. Hard to find these days. She turned. It was him. The same calm eyes. You read economics? Jane asked. Yes, he replied. I studied it, but life took me elsewhere. Jane smiled faintly. I studied it too. They talked, not about money, not about status. They talked about books, life, struggles, dreams. His name was Leonard. He worked as a logistics supervisor in a small company. He earned little, but he spoke with dignity. He was respectful. He listened more than he spoke. When they parted ways, Leonard said, I enjoyed talking with you. Maybe we can meet again. Jane nodded, and for the first time in a long while, she felt safe. Days turned into weeks. Jane and Leonard became friends. They met in simple places, parks, libraries, roadside cafes. Leonard helped Jane without making her feel small. If she needed food, he helped. If she needed advice, he listened. If she was quiet, he respected her silence. What shocked Jane most was this. Leonard never asked for sex. Not once. Even when she noticed his attraction. Even when she saw desire in his eyes. He never crossed the line. Jane tested him sometimes, intentionally dressing better, speaking softly, drawing closer. Leonard always stepped back respectfully. One day she asked him directly, "Don't you ever want more?" Leonard smiled. "I do, but I respect you more than my desires." Jane went home that day and cried. Despite her growing feelings, Jane was afraid. She had been deceived too many times. One night, as they sat on a bench watching the sunset, Jane spoke. "Leonard, do you believe people can love without conditions?" Leonard thought for a moment. "Yes, it's rare but possible." Jane laughed sadly. "I don't believe that anymore." Leonard looked at her carefully. "Someone hurt you deeply?" Jane nodded. She did not tell him everything. Not yet. One evening, Leonard invited Jane to a small restaurant. Nothing fancy, just simple food and soft music. After dinner, he took a deep breath. "Jane," he said, "I need to be honest with you." Jane's heart beat fast. "I have grown to love you," Leonard continued. "Not because of how you look, not because of what you have, but because of who you are." Jane held her breath. "I don't want to pressure you," he added. "I just want you to know how I feel. If you say no, I will still respect you." Jane could not speak. No man had ever said that to her. She finally whispered, "Yes." They began dating. Slowly, respectfully, purely. As their love grew, Jane's heart grew heavier. She was living a lie. Leonard loved a poor, broken version of her. What would happen when he knew the truth? She prayed. She feared. She delayed. But love demands honesty. After Leonard proposed to her with a simple ring and trembling hands, Jane knew it was time. She invited him to sit down. "Leonard," she said, her voice shaking, "there is something I must tell you." She told him everything. About her parents, about the accident, about the wealth, about the disguise. Leonard listened silently. When she finished, she waited for anger, for accusations, for disappointment. Instead, Leonard stood up. He walked toward her and held her hands. "Jane," he said softly, "I fell in love with you, not your story." Jane broke down in tears. Leonard did not change. He did not demand money. He did not ask for gifts. He did not suddenly act important. Instead, he said, "If we marry, I want to continue working. I want us to live simply." Jane knew then. She had found real love. Their wedding was quiet, simple, no loud displays of wealth, only genuine smiles. Jane finally removed the mask, and the world saw her true beauty. The day Jane removed her disguise, the world gasped. News spread faster than wildfire. The ugly poor woman was a billionaire. She was hiding all along. She tested men. Social media exploded. Newspapers ran headlines. Old friends resurfaced. People who once ignored her suddenly remembered her name. Jane watched it all from the quiet of her home. She did not smile. She did not boast. She only held Leonard's hand tighter. It did not take long before Charles returned. He appeared at her gate one afternoon, dressed sharply, confidence forced on his face. "I made a mistake," he said when Jane agreed to see him. Jane looked at him calmly. "No," she replied. "You made a choice." Charles tried to explain. He cried. He begged. He spoke about love. Jane listened patiently. Then she said, "You love my money, not my soul." Leonard stood beside her, silent, strong. Charles left in shame. People whispered, "Leonard is lucky. He married money. He planned everything." Jane feared the pressure would change him, but Leonard remained the same. He still woke early for work. He still ate simple meals. He still treated everyone with respect. One day, Jane offered him a large sum of money to start a business. Leonard shook his head. "I want to build my life with my own hands," he said, "not lean on your wealth." Jane knew then, without doubt, that her journey had not been in vain. Years passed. Jane used her wealth differently now. She built schools. She supported widows. She funded orphanages. But she never forgot her disguise, never forgot how the world treated her when she had nothing. Leonard stood by her side, not as a shadow, but as a partner. They laughed. They struggled. They grew. Together. One evening, Jane stood before a crowd at a charity event. She spoke simply. "I wore a mask to hide from pain," she said. "But love found me when I had nothing to offer." She looked at Leonard. "And that is how I knew it was real." Jane stood by the window one quiet morning, watching the sun rise. The city looked peaceful from where she stood. For the first time in many years, her heart was also peaceful. She turned and looked at Leonard sleeping softly on the bed. "This is real," she thought. "No fear, no pretending, no mask, just love." Marriage did not change Leonard. He did not suddenly demand luxury. He did not become proud. He did not stop being kind. They agreed to live simply. Jane still had her wealth, but she no longer lived for it. Leonard continued his job. Sometimes people mocked him. "Why are you still working when your wife is rich?" they asked. Leonard always answered calmly, "Because dignity is more valuable than money." Jane admired him even more. Not everyone was happy for them. Some people tried to separate them. Some accused Leonard of using Jane. Some women tried to seduce him. Thinking wealth now followed him. But Leonard remained firm. "I chose one woman," he said, "and that choice is enough." Jane watched silently as her husband proved again and again that love could be loyal. One night, Jane sat beside Leonard and spoke about her parents for the first time in years. She cried. Leonard held her. "You lost them," he said gently, "but their love still lives through you." That night, Jane slept without nightmares. Love healed wounds money never could. Jane did not abandon her riches, but she changed its meaning. She opened foundations for poor women who had been deceived by fake love, young girls abused because they were poor, orphans who felt invisible, men and women who had lost hope in relationships. She told her story openly. "I was rich and unloved," she said. "I was poor and disrespected, but I was honest and love found me." Years later, Jane met Charles again. This time, he was broken. He apologized without excuses. Jane forgave him, not because he deserved it, but because she no longer carried bitterness. "I hope you find peace," she told him. She walked away lighter. Jane and Leonard had children. They raised them with values, not wealth. They taught them kindness. They taught them humility. They taught them truth. Jane often told her children, "Never judge people by what they have or how they look. Love the heart, not the mask." One evening, Jane wrote in her journal, "I hid my face to protect my heart. I lost many people, but I found one man, and that was enough." She closed the book. Leonard held her hand, and together they watched the sun set. Two souls, honest and complete.